Greetings and welcome again to another edition of Electric Avenue's YouTube Updates. Thanks for joining me. This is episode 198. Getting very close to 200 of these things. Can't believe it. Started these 4 years ago, over 4 years ago, when the pandemic sort of made it difficult to kind of communicate with my customers and just continued. So it's good to have you here. If you're new, thanks for joining us. All right, so doing today the new releases that have arrived in the store for August. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. July 26th, 2024. August is on the brain because there's so much coming out still in August. This summer's been very active. The last couple summers in particular, it feels like the whole release schedule switched when the pandemic occurred and people realized that summers didn't have to be dead zones of releases, and now they're fairly active, and actually other times of year that are normally used to be more active are sort of like maybe a little less so. Although, I don't know, it seems like there's always stuff coming out. So, okay. So the big thing this week, I suppose, that I need to show I always kind of show like the box set-y things first. And this week would be the Police, the Synchronicity box set. So this is the 4 LP edition. And there's also a 6-disc version. I think it's like maybe 4 CDs, 5 CDs, and a Blu-ray, something like that. I have both, but this has been widely touted as like one of the best box sets of the year. You see the side there where you get the booklet with the records in there as well. This was a pretty huge album in the 80s, huge. And the Police had sort of steadily been gaining fans, and after Ghost in the Machine, they were sort of ready to be propelled to the next level, and this one kicked off with the single Every Breath You Take, probably one of the top 3-5 sellers and most played songs of the 80s, and also launched Sting's solo career, because as soon as this was through with being promoted, he was like, I'm out of here. And so much like infighting between the three guys, which was kind of a shame, I suppose. Mainly, I guess, Sting and Stewart. But they were so talented and they had so much to offer musically, and maybe Sting, I suppose, felt sort of constrained by it after a period of time, because of the kind of wild exploration that he has done post that. Although when I say exploration, I say that with a grain of salt, because I don't know if making like loot albums, and I mean, that was a good album, but you know, Christmas albums, I would consider that exploring. I mean, that's really just sort of trying different styles instead of sort of necessarily pushing into different things. Although he did do quite a bit bringing in world music and stuff like that. But you could say, well, Peter Gabriel and people like that were already doing some of that. So whatever. I do think going back to the early Police stuff, though, 5 albums, all pretty amazing material. And Synchronicity is really no exception. It sort of has its moments that are kind of lesser, I think. But overall, this is a classic album from that era, and had at least 3 or 4 really, really big hits. Every Breath You Take, Wrapped Around Your Finger, King of Pain, there were a few. So, and it was kind of the same time as like Thriller, just exploded. Purple Rain was massive. So this was the era of really, really big albums. The Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual, Madonna's Like a Virgin, etc. So anyway, this is the 4 LP Super Deluxe Limited Edition. LP1 is the original album. These are remastered too. LP2, B-sides and bonus tracks. LPs 3 and 4, unreleased alternate takes, outtakes, and instrumentals. 21 previously unreleased tracks, remastered from original sources, 140-gram black vinyl, 60-page lavish color hardback book featuring new liner notes and interviews, unseen visual material, and archived memorabilia, rare and unseen photos, 4 art print photographs. So there's quite a bit in there. Like I said, I think the CD... sorry, having a production issue. Not quite a wardrobe malfunction. CD's 6 discs. It's also 4 discs. Let's see. Oh, it's actually, I don't know, this might be 6 CDs. The original album, B-sides and bonus tracks, unreleased alternate takes. Those are the first 4 discs. And disc 5 and 6 are 19-track live 1983 concert recording. 55 previously unreleased tracks, so you actually get a little more in the CD box. The CD box is about $130. And the other one, vinyl, runs about $180. So, yeah. Take your pick. There's a 2 CD version. There's also this a picture disc. I believe that there was a 2 LP version, but it might be only exclusive to online retailers. I hate it when they do that stuff. It's Universal playing games, and Universal is notorious for playing games. Universal, stop playing games. Okay. That being said, next. Really excited that this has been reissued, and it was only out last year, and people were so frustrated because they maybe missed the window that it was out, didn't realize that it was limited. Then the prices shot up. They were over $100 online. I saw $120 pretty regularly for a 2 LP set that was in the store, $45. So Talking Heads stopped making sense. So this is the 2 LP remastered edition. The same, I believe, as last year, although they did assign it a new barcode, so I don't know if that is, yes, we're making this a second pressing or whatever. But if you missed out the first time, it's the same track list. So it's been expanded to 2 LPs, and it features the tracks that were cut from the original 1 LP version that came out in the 80s. So it does feature Tom Tom Club doing Genius of Love and some other unreleased things that had been unreleased on vinyl. I don't know if Cities might not have been on the original. But so my other thing I will say about this real quickly is it seems like it might be sort of limited again. I'm not really sure. I went to order more yesterday, and they were already out at the warehouse. Now, I don't know if that's just because they've had such a run on these already, but I don't know if they're expecting more. So we could be in a situation that we had last year. So what I'm saying is, don't wait if you want that. You need to get it like within a week. I know that's not much of a window, especially if some of you are out on vacations or whatnot, but find a way, because you don't want to be paying more than double that in another week's time. The other thing that is kind of cool that they released now, so the movie came out on HD and 4K like a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, and then this is the soundtrack on CD. This is the first time I've seen this. So this is the 2 CD and a 1 Blu-ray version. The Blu-ray is the Dolby Atmos mix of the soundtrack, the expanded soundtrack. So this is the one that has, again, the talking Tom Tom Club song. All right. A lot of Talking Heads news. Also, this finally came out. Stop Making Sense. This is the everyone's getting involved. This is a like a tribute album. I think it's been streaming for a little while, but now it's finally out on vinyl and CD. And this features people like Lord, Bad But Not Good, Linda Linda's Paramore, Miley Cyrus, Chicane Batman. It's kind of hard to read, actually. I think Toro y Moi, maybe? I don't know. I mean, if you can read that back and make sense of that. It did stop making sense, right? So anyway, Policia. I think that's how you say that. I'm not really sure. Anyway, that's finally out as well. Okay. I have so much stuff, guys. It's not even funny. This is like every week lately. Another little mini box set, which is pretty cool here. The Drive-By Truckers and a reissue of their album Southern Rock Opera. This is a deluxe edition, kind of cool foiling stuff on the cover. This is 3 Guitars or a Life of Crime, 3 LPs including new songs and 4 songs recorded live in 2001, remixed, remastered, and resequenced for maximum sonic effect, housed in a rigid slipcase including 28-page book with never-before-seen photos and expanded liner notes by Patterson Hood, clear vinyl, one-time pressing, so this isn't going to be around long. And what was I going to say about this? Can't remember. Wasn't that exciting? But anyway, yeah, I wouldn't wait too long on this either because it's a one-time pressing. So, what I was going to say is interesting. They give the supplemental LP, and it is a different running order. And last week, Bloody Kisses by Typo Negative was also reissued in a different track running order. So those are kind of collector's items things. I don't think those are going to be around for very long. New record this week from Empire of the Sun. It's their album called Ask That God. This is limited edition clear vinyl. Always love their artwork. It's sort of Star Wars-y, space age-y, synth pop. Luke, can't remember his last name, but lead singer, and the other guy, Nick, part of Pina, that does a lot of remixing for like Elton John and Dua Lipa, people like that. So anyway, new Empire of the Sun. It's been like maybe 5 years since the last one. Last one did have Lindsey Buckingham on it, so but it is very synth pop, and they're from Australia. Okay. Grateful Dead, Go to Heaven, and Shakedown Street. Grateful Dead, they just can't stop reissuing records this summer. It's been a wealth of records. We had Dead Set and Reckoning came out a couple weeks ago. There was a From the Mars Hotel reissue that also had a deluxe CD with a bonus concert attached to it. And now these are part of Rhino's Sounds of Summer. So they're pressed on sea blue vinyl. There's also black vinyl, but I think the blue ones are probably more limited. It looks like they're already starting to run out a little bit at the warehouse. Shakedown Street features Good Lovin', Fire on the Mountain, and Go to Heaven features Alabama Getaway, Saint of Circumstance, Althea, and Feel Like a Stranger. So, all right. More Grateful Dead. If you've got Grateful Dead itis, you're a fan, you're going to have deep pockets this summer, I think. Although nothing has been really, really expensive yet, but there is a Dick's Picks volume 21, I think. Oh, volume 12 is coming out in a couple weeks, and I think that's over $200 on vinyl. So Linkin Park's Meteora gets another reissue, and this is a special, what do they call it? Limited edition pressed on translucent gold and red splatter vinyl. So you might have a black one, but this is gold and red splatter. I think there are 3 Linkin Park albums being reissued again in another week or two, and they're one steps. So audiophile versions of the records done by Warner Brothers instead of some outsourced kind of company, and I think those are going to retail for around $100. This is 26, 27. So anyway, Linkin Park. Meteora. Well, I've had a lot of requests for this. The Misfits, Earth AD, and yeah, this is Essential Purple Swirl Vinyl RSD Essential. Um, I think there were sort of other versions of this. I'm trying to cover that up out there, but this one is actually the Purple Swirl Vinyl, which people saw this online and were like, I gotta get it. They already did one of the Misfits albums on color vinyl, and it's out of print already. I don't think I can get it anymore already. So you got to get those things when you see them. Another one I'm not sure is going to stick around too long. Skinny Puppies, Too Dark Park. I don't think that this is a color vinyl. I think it's just black. But this album has been out of print for a really long time. They did reissue most Skinny Puppy albums a couple years ago. This one did not get reissued at that time. I don't know if it had to do with sample clearances or what, but they do have a lot of samples on these early records, so probably something to do with that. The cover art I've always thought is very like psychedelic, creepy. Looks almost like it's a metal album, but they're more of an industrial synth band. So Blur, live at Wembley Stadium. So they had some big shows last year. No, last year. Yeah, it was 2023. It's early still. And so this is a 2 LP edition, and they also came out with a 3 LP edition. So it really depends on how much Blur you want and how deep your pockets are. The 2 LP version is around $40, and it has these tracks, and let's see, it does have some new songs from the last album, like The Narcissist. It has song 2, Woohoo, Woohoo, Park Life to the End, This Is the Low, Tender, Universal Girls and Boys. It's a little bit like sort of maybe kind of a greatest hits type live thing. And then this one, which is more in the $60 range, because it's 3 records, it just adds more songs. End of a Century, Country House. I think that Tracy Jacks, this one is probably more like the full concert. Now, this one says concert from Sunday, July 9th, and the other one says concert from Saturday and Sunday, July 8th and 9th of 2023. So the other one seems to have pulled from a couple nights, and this one is one complete night. So just trying to find ways to complicate the issues all the time, right? Morrissey gets a reissue of Beethoven Was Deaf. So there are so many albums of his that still need reissuing that are extremely hard to get. Everything from about 1996 to the present, well, at least up till mid 2010s. But this one was a live record from 1993, so a very prime era of early Morrissey stuff. He's changed the artwork again. He likes these pictures better. And he also, I think it's this sort of, well, it's been remastered. Oh, at Abbey Road. And it's pressed on black bio vinyl. So anyway, I don't know if it's the exact same track listing or not, but you can freeze it and take a look. So, all right. And Red Hot Chili Peppers reissue Californication. This has been out in the rack for years as a black vinyl, and now they're just doing a 25th anniversary limited on red and ocean blue color, so to kind of reflect the colors of the cover here. But no extra music. I mean, again, I would think, Californication, not only is it such a iconic record for the Chili Peppers, but it was so inspirational that it even was the name for a TV series. you would just think that after 25 years that we would get some more kind of like ads, like box set type thing, or something with like a live show, unreleased tracks from the sessions. Like I'm just saying this as an advocate for Red Hot Chili Peppers fans, because I mean, I'm not like, I don't dislike them at all. I think they're very good. I don't really own any of their stuff, but as if I were a fan, I would be like, it's the 25th anniversary of this. Do more for this. I mean, Under the Bridge alone, right, is worth the price of admission. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Scar Tissue. Well, whatever. Scar Tissue, Around the World, Get on Top. I remember being played a lot. I mean, it's a great album. So, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are record companies not more involved in trying to promote their own legacies? Go figure. Skip James. Speaking of promoting a legacy, well, this is cool. This is on Bluesville, which is the blues sort of imprint of acoustic sounds, partnered with Verve, but in this case, Kraft. And this is Skip James Today. Matt Luton's, I guess is his name. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Did the mastering on this. He usually uses like Kevin Gray's recording or mastering equipment, or has some kind of connection with that. So this was recorded 1966. Warren Zevon. Now, see, this is an album that is cool that they expanded it. This is his self-titled album, cut from original analog master tapes. One LP of bonus tracks on black vinyl. So the album itself, the whole thing is on black vinyl, even though it's part of Rhino Summer. The bonus tracks are taken from, I think, the deluxe edition of the CD. Most of them are demos of what's on the album. So I don't know. It'd still be interesting to hear different alternate versions, alternate takes, live versions. It's a really great album. So certainly up there with Excitable Boy, which is the album that he's probably most famous for. A really great collection. So we're into the Rhino stuff now again. Randy Newman, Best of Randy Newman. And this has previously, I think, only been on CD. Yeah, definitive Randy Newman Best of on vinyl for the first time. Includes the hits Short People, I Love LA, and You've Got a Friend in Me. So it's, I think, a way to get like, a little bit of the Pixar stuff mixed in with all the other stuff. But one thing that's interesting here, I guess, is that they also do feature Rednecks, and I'm surprised that that song made it to this because it's so controversial. But I think to understand Randy Newman in a lot of ways, you kind of have to understand sarcasm and sort of taking a subject and turning it inside out. And a lot of that kind of thing is lost on today's songwriting generation. So things that could come off as like kind of, I can't believe he's saying that, are meant to be said that way for a purpose. So anyway, but what a great songwriter and great musician, artist. I would say, his voice is quirky, sort of the way that, like, I guess Tom Waits or Bob Dylan or a lot of those singers had quirky voices. It's not like he's not going to win American Idol with that voice, but the songs are so thoughtful and touching and strangely unique and interesting. And so love Randy Newman. Fleetwood Mac, 1969 to 74. This is a best of. It's a 2 LP version. This is on Sea Blue vinyl. This is from the Rhino series as well. and I should say the Randy Newman was also on Sea Blue vinyl. And this and that the Newman was on vinyl for the first time. This is a brand new compilation celebrating the early years of Fleetwood Mac, and I would say, well, I don't know if this is the earliest of early years. I think they go back earlier than this even, but this has Green Manalishi, Oh Well, July Judy, Bear Trees, Sentimental Lady, uh, Future Games. Yeah, so kind of through the Bob Welch era. That's pretty cool. Chicago, Best of Chicago's 82 to 89. Not their most artistically great period, but a huge like commercial period for them. Sea Blue vinyl. Hits Hard to Say I'm Sorry, You're the Inspiration, Hard Habit to Break, and Look Away. There's more than that, but this is sort of the big David Foster era. So, and that's on blue vinyl. And then a couple of Frankie Valli compilations on blue vinyl. This is a Best of Four Seasons, the 60s. So this has got most of the ones that people know. Sherry, Big Girls Don't Cry, Walk Like a Man, Candy Girl, Ragdoll, Let's Hang On, Working My Way Back to You, and ends with Can't Take My Eyes Off You. And then there's a 70s Frankie Valli, also on Sea Blue vinyl and Four Seasons. Has December 1963, Oh What a Night, My Eyes Adored You, Fallen Angel, We're All Alone, ends with Grease, the title track from the movie. So if you're into Frankie, those are some good comps. This band, I think they reissued these a few months ago, but now they're all reissued again on clear vinyl. So if you're from the Jackass Margera generation, you'd be happy to see him. This is what Greatest Love Songs Volume 666. We got Love Metal, Tears on Tape, and Deep Shadows and Brilliant Highlights. And I think Razor Blade Romance is on the way. So 5 hymn reissues all on clear vinyl. I think once people figured those were out last time, they went really fast. So, and then I couldn't get those again either. So again, I say don't wait too long. Cold, a reissue of a 90s, I think it's a 90s band, available on vinyl for the first time, featuring the singles Go Away and Give. This was that sort of late 90s, 98, sort of associated with Limp Bizkit in a way, because Fred Durst was the A&R man on this, and the producer was Ross Robinson, who did a lot of stuff with Korn. So Cold. Let's see, guys, there's so much. Future and Metro Boomin, and these guys have had a lot of success in the rap world, and this is We Don't Trust You is the name of this album. And let's see, then this one is I don't know, maybe they're both We Don't Trust You. I'm trying to figure this out. I thought one was We Still Don't Trust You. Oh, this is We Still Don't Trust You. Sorry, this one is We Don't Trust You. We Don't Trust You, We Still Don't Trust You. Great names for records. Anyway. Oh, that's because they've got the still wedged in there. That's why I was getting thrown off. I think they were sort of integral on like Spider-Man soundtracks and stuff, but I don't know too much about them, I will admit. Knocked Loose. This is sort of like a new hardcore album that's getting a lot of talk, a lot of praise online. It's called You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to. This is the Algae Marble color edition. So if you like hardcore type stuff. Anyway, Knocked Loose. Critically acclaimed. There's a couple of Heaven 17 remasters this week coming over from across the pond, and they're on Demon Records. This one was the first one I chose to get, which is the Half Speed Master of Penthouse and Pavement. Luxury Gap is also available, but this one has We Don't Need This Fascist Groove Thing, kind of apropos. Penthouse and Pavement, a great song. Geisha Boys and Temple Girls, Let's All Make a Bomb, The Height of Fighting. Really good early 80s synth pop record. Kind of came from the ashes of the Human League. They were the guys that were in the Human League that left, and then the Human League had huge hits after they left. Don't You Want Me was massive. So, I don't know, maybe they should have stayed. But maybe that song wouldn't have happened had they stayed. So, I don't know. Anyway, they had their own success. And Luxury Gap was a great album, too. Bazio, Levin, Stevens, Terry Bazio of Missing Persons, Tony Levin, bass player to the Stars, and Steve Stevens of Billy Idol fame. This album came out years ago, 97, so it's 27 years old. Hard to believe, but on vinyl, clear vinyl. I don't know if it's for the first time. Probably not, but anyway, that has been reissued. A few little jazz things here. Pat Metheny's Moon Dial, a new Pat Metheny record. He just keeps cranking them out. This features mostly Metheny compositions, but Chick Corea, Lennon McCartney does Here, There, Everywhere. Does some Bernstein, Sondheim stuff. Maybe this is an acoustic album. I don't know. But Pat, amazing musician. Louis Armstrong album. This is a historic evening of jazz in Chicago, 1959. Vinyl has been out of print and unavailable until now. Okay, out of print. I don't know for how long. Translucent blue vinyl, but it looked kind of purpley. Let's see. Well, it's got Back of Town Blues, Sweethearts on Parade, Sugarfoot Stomp, My Bucket's Got a Hole in It. So recently there was an unreleased Louis Armstrong BBC concert that came out that had all of his biggest hits like Hello Dolly and What a Wonderful World and stuff like that. And this is kind of the antithesis, which is very early Louis Armstrong, more trumpet playing probably, and then Lionel Hampton plays drums, vibes, and piano. This is another. These are from Culture Factory, and this one features Just One of Those Things, Man I Love, Darn That Dream, Stardust, Lullaby of Birdland. This is on some kind of translucent orange vinyl. Grammy Award winner Lionel Hampton delivers one of his greatest recordings. Vinyl has been out of print and unavailable till now. I'll leave it to Culture Factory to do these. And another jazz, Thelonious Monk. This is Monk's Blues by actually Thelonious Sphere Monk, and limited edition of 1,000 individually numbered copies on translucent blue vinyl. Music on Vinyl did this. They've done a lot of Monk stuff recently. This was arranged and conducted by Oliver Nelson, and features Straight No Chaser and Brilliant Corners. William Parker Organ Quartet. There was one last week, Parlor Green, that was sort of an funk organ thing. This is, I guess, more sort of jazz organ, maybe. But it says Gorgeous Soul Jazz Vintage 2010. Harkens to early 60s sessions of similar form. First edition 500 includes download card with 3 additional tracks. But it's kind of cool. I think a lot of people are looking for like organ jazz and stuff that they haven't heard before. Bob Marley, Small Axe, a reissue of this album. Features brand new artwork. I don't know why they're doing it. Don't ask me. Includes the smash hits Duppy Conqueror, Try Me, and Small Axe on translucent green vinyl. So it's kind of early Bob before he went to Island Records. Features It's Alright, Natural Mystic. Delamitri keep putting out reissues. This is an early one for them. I think Waking Hours. Original artwork on blue vinyl, limited edition. Eventually they'd hit big in the US with Roll to Me. This one starts with Kiss This Thing Goodbye. Produced by Mark Freegard, Hugh Jones, and Gil Norton. Some big producer names of the 80s. Right here, right now, this is a soundtrack from the band Ghost. And this is original motion picture soundtrack, limited edition, indie record store exclusive on opaque silver vinyl. I really don't know anything about what this is. Maybe it's a concert film. It sort of looks like it could be. I don't know. My Ghost fans out there are going to have to tell me about that. Transformers. This is the original animated series motion soundtrack. I'm trying to say motion picture soundtrack, but it's an animated series. Let's see, limited edition Autobots versus Decepticons color vinyl variant. And so if you're into like soundtracks and animated stuff or whatever, video game music, maybe that's something for you. Muddy Waters, this is actually a 10-inch. Muddy Waters band live in Los Angeles, 1954. An incredible, previously unheard vintage performance from the father of modern blues. It's kind of a short performance, and there's an interview also. But he does Baby Please Don't Go, Hoochie Coochie Man, I Just Want to Make Love to You, I'm Ready, Oh Yeah, and Interview. So, all right. And then a few CDs of note. I don't know if I had this or mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but the Yardbirds Ultimate Live at the BBC. This is a 4 CD box set. Very nice if you're into like early Yardbirds, and but you've got like Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton. Good stuff. Bill Callahan, Resuscitate, his new album. There is a vinyl available for that too. Red Clay Strays. They're sort of like Americana. Their new CD. Also vinyl available. And Burning Hell, which I think has been out on vinyl a little bit recently. This is from that Bluesville label as well. But they're putting it out on CD. So if you want that, John Lee Hooker, Burning Hell on CD. Burning Hell, Graveyard Blues, Jackson, Tennessee, Smokestack Lightning, Natchez Fire. All right, so I did have one little recommend this week. I just wanted to say too that in the coming weeks, next week is the Big Ween reissue, Chocolate and Cheese. It's got 15 bonus tracks and demos on it, things that are unreleased. So people might find that stuff interesting. The two tone poets next week are Lee Morgan's Taru and Bobby Hutcherson's Medina. And those might also be of interest to jazz fans. There's a bunch more now playing series, Captain Beefheart, Love, Velvet Underground, and the Stooges. So then on August 9th, a couple of Blue Notes from Art Blakey's Monin and Wayne Shorter's Speak No Evil. Those are, again, the blue vinyl indie store editions, reissues of those records. New Amos Lee, new King Gizzard, and new OCs all come out on August 9th. August 16th, briefly, there's 10 years after, they're releasing the Woodstock performances, finally. Devon Allman, Ray LaMontagne, Mazzy Star has a reissue of their album that's coming back on color vinyl. The is it So Tonight That I Might See, and new Biba Doobie. Say that 5 times fast. And then we're into like August 23rd with Sabrina Carpenter, Fontaine's DC, etc., etc. I think there's a couple more jazz things that day, so I'll let you know as we get closer. But my recommend this week, I'll make this brief because I'm at 40 minutes. I thought I'd pick something from the early 80s that I hadn't really talked about much, but Yazoo Upstairs at Eric's. So this album was by Vince Clarke, who had just left Depeche Mode after one very successful album, and he decided that the craziness of being in a new romantic type band was really not for him. So, and I don't know if he just necessarily didn't vibe working with those guys or wanted to be a little more like a producer type situation. But he kind of demoed a lot of this album with Alison Moyet, a blues singer that he knew sort of from the Essex area. And she had such a big soul voice, and the songs were immediately hitting the charts. And before Vince knew it, people were demanding a second album, and he really didn't want to do it. He sort of wanted to keep looking for the right singer for him because he didn't feel that he and Allison were really on the same page. And it's funny because it sort of like reminds me of certain political things that have happened lately where you've got something really special and for one reason or another he just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't like he was under pressure to call it off. He just didn't feel like he wanted to keep pursuing it himself. So it kind of left Allison in a lurch. I mean, she got a solo career sort of kicked off from it, but it would have been nice to hear them do more than 2 albums together. Their second album was pretty great as well. But this was the first. This came out in, 1982 originally, I believe. And this is a reissue from 2019. And same sort of original cover artwork, except in England they were called Yazoo, and in America they had to drop the ooh and call themselves Yaz because there was a record label called Yazoo that started to sue them for using that name. So they became Yaz in the US. The big hits on this album, Don't Go was a really big kind of synth pop dance hit. And then Only You was a big synth pop ballad. And if you haven't heard those songs, go listen to them on YouTube or something. Allison has this very deep, beautiful alto, soulful voice, and set against the kind of cold electronica of Vince's synth work at the time, was a real interesting mixing of two worlds. Only thing I can think of that was sort of similar would have been maybe Soft Cell's Tainted Love, where you had a real soulful kind of voice, but against a very kind of synthy background. But I would say this probably even more so because Allison's voice was kind of based in like American blues and jazz singers, really, a very husky, kind of rootsy voice. But yeah, she was a white girl from England. But anyway, and at the time she was also a big girl. Now she's not anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. But and you know, people sort of read things into that about like, oh well, you know, this woman of size, she's gonna be obviously be more soulful. I mean, give me a break. You know, she just had a great voice, whatever. So, but I think there's so many good songs on this. Midnight, In My Room. I mean, Bad Connection is just a good poppy song. Two Pieces is great. Goodbye 70s, which is like kind of about throwing out the 70s and here we come the 80s, and it's really interesting. It's kind of quaint to hear that now 40 years down the road. Winter Kills is just beautiful and ends with the funky Didn't I Bring Your Love Down. The only song that's missing from this on the British version is Situation, which in the UK they used the song Tuesday, and which is sort of a kind of a quieter, mellow song. And Situation was a B-side of a single, and it was all of a sudden taking off in the clubs. And in America, they were like being pressured by the label. As like, you gotta release that as a single. And they're like, it's a B-side. And they're like, no, it's the single. And they put it on the album. And in America, they put the extended version on the album. So it was like 5-6 minutes long in an album of 3-minute songs. And it really made the album sort of take off in the college scene and the underground music scene. It was not a big commercial success, this album, in the UK, in the US at first, but it was huge in the UK, and eventually in the US it became a real cult classic and sold a lot. So I recommend this album. You may want to, some people want to skip the track I Before E except after C. It's kind of like a sonic cut up of like spoken word stuff. And if you are listening to the album in a flow, it can be kind of annoying. So you may have to skip that track, but it's not for everybody for sure. I even have to be in the right mood to like say, okay, I'll listen to it. But I prefer the actual songs on this album. That's the only moment that's a little bit like, maybe I could lift the needle for 3 minutes there and we'll be fine. But check that out if you haven't heard it, or if you're too young and you weren't around in 1982, listen to Upstairs at Eric's. I highly recommend it. Allison, as I said, would go on to a big solo career, and Vince would go on to start Erasure after that, which is a band that he still does off and on with Andy Bell of that band. The two of them have been doing music now for what it would be like almost 40 years, 38. So anyway, he found the right person, I guess, to stick with after that, whoever he sort of vibed with. So ironically, he and Allison did do a reunion tour though about a decade ago, and that went pretty well, but they didn't make any new music. So all right, thanks guys so much for joining me. I know this is stretching on really long. This is the problem with doing recommends, is that it just blah, 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 blah. So anyway, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's not been quite as hot here. It's still humid, but anyway, take care. See you next time. Peace. Enjoy what's left of summer.